And welcome back to Flexible Games, where we are playing Factorio in our Uber production series for 1.0. And we are on 1.1 actually at the moment. I think 1.1.6 is out, and the game updated to that. No breaking of mods, so that's good. And we have a lot of power in solar here. We have 36 of these, giving us quite a lot. Nearly 400 megawatts a piece. And I went ahead, you can't have solar without accumulators, because solar does not generate at night, obviously. And so you need accumulators to make up the difference. And we have a lot of accumulators over here. And yeah, we built this up. And accumulators, the research went along fine because I tweaked it. Again, just like I mentioned, I tweaked solar panels. And the crafting I had over here somewhere, I think right above batteries, yeah. So I had this set up here. Initially, I only had like 6 of these, and it was taking forever. And so things and stuff later, I wanted to bump up the generation of accumulators because we're going to use a lot of them. And so I came down here, and you can see our steel is gone. We finally mined out the iron that was here, so that's all gone. And then down here, I did this mainly to test the new fluid mod, and we'll get into that next episode. But it was just a test, and so we have all of the batteries over here. This is like a battery setup that I just kind of threw together. It works really well. It's tileable, and it works rather well. And then I compress all those down, and then we have lots and lots of accumulators, which go down into the Mark 1s. I think these are they start on Mark 1s, and then they go to Mark 2s, and the Mark 2s go up and feed the system that I had already. And as you can see, the whole system is back stuff now, so we have lots and lots and lots of accumulators to go. There's 22,000 of the Mark IIs ready to go. And plus we have just thousands and thousands of other accumulators. Because, yeah, we are chewing up resources pretty fast. The copper, which is up here, as you can see, this deposit is now much smaller than it was before. You can see if it wasn't nighttime, you can see the blue dots here. That was the outside extent of the deposit. You can see all the way down here, we had miners all the way down in here. So this deposit has shrunk considerably. And so, yeah, that is the thing. We are using those resources because right now, all of our copper, and all of our iron and all of our steel are coming from our outposts. And yeah, that's good. The other thing I wanted to mention is, speaking of the outposts, when we ended last episode, we were having some power problems, which is why I started the solar panels and got the accumulators up, because we were going to have power issues because of the beacons and the well, mostly because of the beacons. I had this Uber copper up here. I've got the Uber iron down here. I added some bricks. I just tossed some bricks in here. So there's some bricks, but because this deposit right here is getting a little low, and I wanted to make sure I had my bricks covered just in case I went out there. And as you can see, I radically increased the amount of steel that we have going on here. So I Uberized steel as best that I could. And we were having some huge power issues because the beacons, regardless of whether or not they are actively influencing a working assembler. So like this beacon here, there's no assemblers actually doing anything. This beacon is still consuming that power. This beacon is consuming power, and this one is too. So when you have giant areas of hundreds of beacons, that can add up to a lot of power. I was approaching a gigawatt of power constantly being consumed by my beacons. And so what I did in lieu of doing something tricky like adding more power is I put a sort of a stopgap measure here. Let's go up to copper plate outpost. You can see none of these are powered, and they're all blinky because none of them are powered. Well, why are none of them powered? Well, I came down here and I took advantage of the fact that the rail grid that we have has red and green wire connections throughout the whole system. So the whole entire power, or the train grid here, has red and green wires spreading across. So I had a built-in way of communicating certain things. And so over here on copper, this master warehouse here, I have connected into the red line here. And so that is telling me how much of the compressed copper is in that warehouse. And it's telling it to the entire grid of rail. And so I come over here to this side of things. This is where power was connected into this system. And so what I do is I detect, as you can see, 7,200 copper. And then I have a little bit of I don't even know what to call this, but it's basically a ranged switch. Similar to what I did, it's basically the exact same thing as what I did with the artillery. And so I have it set to push in the seedling when the report of the compressed copper less than 6,500. Okay. But don't pull it back out until it's greater than 7,100. So it's a range switch. And then I have the power switch hooked into this chest to detect when the seedling is equal to 1. So when a copper train comes in and grabs some copper, if this chest goes below 6,500, the power, this thing switches over to seedling, power switches on, it powers all of this. This kicks into gear, dumps a huge amount of copper into the system, and as soon as that warehouse hits over 7,100, the power turns back off again and allows the rest of because there's quite a few of compressed goodies in here. So once it switches off, it actually fills it back up again. As you can see, we have 7,200. Remember, this switched off at 7,100, and we have a bunch of compressed copper in here. So yeah, it's plenty. And so I did that. As you can see, we've got one here, and I had to manually disconnect all of the power to only have one spot. And so here's the same thing. And so we are delivering the amount of bricks, iron, steel, and copper. And so that is switching on and off that switch and allowing me to save a huge amount on power. Oh, there's copper that just turned on. So this will turn on because it less than 6,500. It usually takes a train or two for it to really kick on. But as soon as this hits 7,100, these blink off and we have no power. And so if we look at our power usage, you'll see spikes and such here. If we go to minute, you can see, boom, electric furnaces kick on, power, power, power. There's the beacons. So beacons went from 300 megawatts to 580 megawatts in that jump. That's just copper jumping on, and now they're off again. And so we save quite a lot of power doing that. And granted, we'll come to a level of production in the base where we may just have it on all the time, but it is what it is. It is what it is. We'll keep an eye on it. But yeah. So the other thing I wanted to mention is something I remembered a few days ago. And because we're using the new version, I had completely forgotten that this was a thing. But the new version, 1.1 and above, has a feature that I wanted to get into. And so this train stop, we can rename main base. Instead of iron plate, we can click this little button over here. And we can say, I want compressed iron plate. Bingo. Main base compressed iron plate. And so now that is the actual name. This was a feature before, but it was really, really hard to know exactly what to put into this to get that output. And so they made it way, way easier. And so we're going to do compressed iron or compressed copper this time around. Okay. And over here, this is steel. So we're going to do main base space compressed steel. And the trains are automatically going to update themselves. So, you know, main base brick. Brick is probably over here. Yeah, there's brick. Okay, and then I have stations here. We have green circuits, red, blue, plastic, sulfur, and then we got more that are not used. And so I wanted to make sure those had spaces for themselves. And the other thing is I went around and I tweaked some of these, and so you can see this is just train stop compressed copper plate. That's all that's there. And I tried to think of a way to standardize that. And so what I did is I basically used the product that's being made, and then if it's a stop that demands something, I demand compressed copper ore. So this is making copper plate. So it's almost akin to me naming this stop copper plate and then underscore compressed ore or something like that. And so I sort of did that, and then over here, all that this is producing, or all that this is compressed copper. And I did the same thing over here. This is my green setup, and I wanted to get this laid out and ready so we could just jump into it this time around. Okay, so let's go up. Was I smart enough? And did I put? Oh, I did. Oh, good. Okay, we're gonna go green circuits. So here we have a station. We have 3 stations. This is the green circuit station, and this wants iron plate, and we have 3 of those. This is the green circuit, and it wants copper plate. And up here we have iron ore and copper ore, and that's for pickup because we have this giant copper here and we have this giant iron here. And so yeah, I wanted a spot to be able to load those because we're going to quickly need especially some extra copper, because we are going to use so much copper. It's crazy. So green circuits, I do have a blueprint here, and so these down here, this is going to be the iron, and this one down here is going to be the copper, and that's all we need for green circuits. And so let's see, that is blue, that is green here. Do I want to use this one? Whoa. I don't think I have any. There's red. Okay, yeah, that's the only green I have. The greens that we have over here in the main base, these are actually really compact. Like really compact. I really like this setup. Granted, it uses the tiny versions here. But man, this is a nice compact setup. I really, really like this. And we could even make it better. Well, I don't know if we could make it better. This is pretty darn good. The only adjustment that I would probably make to this, let's grab this. We're gonna copy that. Okay, now what do we want? We are going to use such an advanced amount of green circuits. I really want to make sure this is optimally set. So we are going to, let's see, that's going to be copper, that's going to be iron coming down. Okay, so we're going to prototype this out. I really want to make some improvements to this, especially with how fast things are going. And granted, we are kind of a ways from the base, so things are going to build rather slowly. Okay, the thing I wanted to change is what happens when these are loaded in here, because we're going to produce these rather fast. Let's see. And the blinkiness really is bothersome. I hate staring at the blinkiness, so we're gonna do that so we don't. It's so distracting having all that stuff blinking at me. So what I would like to do is set these up to actually load directly into compressors. So this is going to load here. This is going to load there. And so let's copy and paste that. Copy and paste that. All right, so those are loading into the compressors. Now, we're going to have this out and out. Yeah, see, that is what bothers me. I don't have a way to send those out a different direction. Because this is, remember, this is going to be tiled, so it has to be encompassed in this setup here. One thing we could do, maybe, well, if I put this back here, that'll give me a spot to jut around there, but then this one, again, has to be tiled, and so this would stick out. I don't know if there's an elegant way to do this. The other way we could do this like that, and then spit them out the side. You can see we're gonna have to yeah, see, this is a problem. If we spit them out the side, we're going to need a space here for them to reincorporate, and that's going to throw off my tileability. So, how do we ensure that these get... I knew I should have figured this out before I started. So we're going to take those away. If we spit these out to the side here, right? Now, we would have to go down there. Remember, what we do on one side, we have to do on the other as well. Right here, yeah. Like so. So this goes. This goes here. And then if we join these up, like so. Okay, and these are going to come back. So we're going to have to double up on one side. And that rules out any sort of beacon over here. So I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. I don't know if there's a way to do this gracefully. Not at least without adding some space in between here, which we could do if we did. Let's do control. Let's first cancel all the changes that we just made. Even up, I don't know how much of that we needed, but if we do control X, okay, it was there. If we say, hey, how about right there? Give ourselves an extra space. What kind of changes would that make? We're still going to want these to be close. Like that. Because I want them to touch all the middle ones, because these need to share in order to get that speed up to where we wanted it. All right, so here we have if we really wanted to go crazy with this, we could do that. Yeah, that's not going to work. If we go here and here. All right. My brain is starting to hurt. Okay, so if we go up, yeah, there's just not enough space in here. There's just absolutely not enough space to get what I need done in here, ready to go. Which is why I kind of don't like these small ones, because it cramps us so much. And so I think I'm just gonna have to give up on that. And let's go back to our greens. There's gotta be an easy or a better way of doing this too. Like a way more compressed version of this. Let's see if we can't prototype one really quick, as I'm sure a lot of people out there might be interested in this process. Okay, so we need first. I must not have the assemblers. So first thing is we would like these ready to go. So these are going to be my copper wire. These are going to be my green circuits. Now, we could make this even cleaner, because again, with productivity modules, okay, my productivity here is 60%. Well, this recipe doesn't change. This still wants 3. So with this at 60%, we could technically do this, copper cable, this, and now this is going to be 60% more productive, which then could feed a lot of these. I think this might even work. Having one of these maxed out, and then we're going to want, of course, productivity modules here. The other thing I did is I left this going for a long time. As you can see, I actually moved it up and radically increased how much we're producing, because when I built the rest of this steel, I used like 6,000 modules, like 6,000 productivity modules. And so I was like, you know what, we're going to need a lot of productivity modules once we get going. And so yeah, there's 26,000 in there ready to go. Of course, what we can do is speed up this whole process using beacons. Okay. So 60%, that is going to be, this is producing 2 every half second. So even a 50% would be 3 every half second. This is using 3 every half second. So I might need to squeeze out a little bit more out of that. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my logistics off, just to be on the safe side. I'm gonna use 2 of these, because I don't want to get this setup going and get this whole thing up and running and then find that, oh yeah, it's not gonna work or something like that. You know, it's just, I'd rather get this setup going. Okay, let's get you boosted. We're gonna need power. I'd rather do power out here. Okay, so this is 3.5. They're both 3.85 crafting speed. It's only a 10% boost. That hurts, actually. That really hurts. Since these are a 1-to-1, I'm thinking we could probably do this. And let's get some more speed. Let's get some more speed. And productivity. There we go. So now we're at 7. There we go. Now we're talking. Okay, so the other thing we're going to need in here is, yeah, we're going to move that across. We're going to move that across. We don't need to snuggle those up so much. We are going to want an underground on both of these. We're going to stack insert of this. This is going to be a side. This is going to be a side. All right. So that is going to be the iron supply right there. That's the iron supply. copper. The other thing I would like, if possible, I always try to get when I try to do a tile design, I always try to get it in the size of one substation. It just seems the more elegant way of doing it. Okay, so these are going to be productivity modules, and then we're going to have you and you and you and you, and then you are going to be side loading. Now the problem is yeah, this is going to need that. Okay, so this, imagine these are down here. That's how the tiled is going to go. So we have this and this, this, and then that doesn't really work that well. Why does this not fit into a nice, easy pattern? Probably because there's a lot of dead space because of the beacons. If we were to join two of these up, this would lose these beacons. Having 4 beacons on every one of these is really helping boost this up. Let me play with this design a little bit, and we'll come back next episode, and I should have something decent figured out here. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode, and I thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.